to this video about AI, exploring AI. This video is probably going to be about 20 minutes long, but I'm going to put timestamps and everything into the description so you can just jump to the sections you're interested in. But for now, listen to it at least once, maybe even at double speed if that works for you. So I'm going through our slides, our slide deck, and you might not have used something like this before, but my recommendation is read through all the slides or maybe go through them with me as you're listening to the video, and then go back and start the project step by step. It's really meant to be a guided exploration to help you check out lots of different AI tools. So where do we start? How about here? Imagine that you're using an AI tool to help you with research for a class. It generates a perfectly written response, complete with sources, but then you realize the sources don't actually exist. Or maybe you apply for a job and an AI powered hiring tool filters out your application before anyone actually sees it. How do we hold AI accountable? This project isn't just about testing AI. It's about understanding how AI works, recognizing its limitations, and thinking critically about its ethical implications. You'll explore AI applications, learn how to ask the right questions, and then create a product review that evaluates one AI tool. This is an individual project, but you are more than welcome to discuss your ideas with the group or the class as a whole. So let's look at the overview. AI is everywhere, whether it's TikTok's algorithm, AI generated images, or chatbots like ChatGPT. But how much do we actually understand how these tools work? In this project, you'll do a couple of things. You'll test and evaluate AI applications. You'll learn how AI makes decisions, and you'll create a product review video that showcases an AI tool's strengths and weaknesses. Think of this as an opportunity to experiment, analyze, and reflect on AI's role in society. By the end of the project, you should be able to do three things: test drive AI tools that are actively being used in different industries, analyze the AI decision making. How does it learn? What biases does it reinforce? And create a product review to help others understand how AI works and why it matters. Again, this isn't just about using AI, this is about thinking critically about who benefits, who is left out, and how AI shapes our world. Now, this pathway is kind of your jump menu to the different sections of this slide deck. So use it and come back to it and use it to help you navigate. So in this project, we're going to follow 4 key steps. Asking good questions. We're going to learn about prompt engineering so that you know how to get the result you're looking for. Exploring and testing, so experimenting with AI tools and documenting the results, and then evaluating those tools for accuracy, privacy, bias, and usability. And then we're going to do creating and sharing, presenting your images or your insights into some sort of product review, video, or project. And you'll have a lot of options when it comes to that. This will help you develop critical thinking skills about using AI, not just as a user, but as an evaluator. So there's 2 deliverables in this project. The first one we talked about a little bit, and we'll get into more detail, is the product review. But this other one, this AI exploration log, that's going to help you document your work and make your thinking transparent so that I can understand your process and what you're learning. So this will be a Google Doc, and you're going to set this up right from the start. Like, go do it right now if you want to. A couple of things you have to have on it, okay? The file name needs to be CIS50, your name, not the words your name, but your actual name, AI exploration log. And then you're going to share it with me as an editor right away. Don't wait until you're done. And then use this document to record a couple of things as you go through the slide deck. So you're going to record your responses to key questions from the slides. You're going to record your experiments with the AI tools and what you tried and what you noticed. There'll be some guidelines for that when we get there. You're going to record your reflections about bias, ethics, and privacy issues. And then any links to chat transcripts or screenshots of AI generated content, anything you can do to document what you actually did as you go through this process. So one thing I did to help you out is look for that notepad icon as you go through the slides, or a variation of it. Okay, if it's just the notepad, it's something to put into the AI exploration log. If it's the notepad with a little Discord icon, then that's a discussion thing you put on the AI discussion channel. There's, I think, once or twice a notepad with a little Google form icon, and that's something you'll submit through a Google form that will be linked up to the slides. So look for that. Okay. Now, why this matters is if you share your document early, then I can give you some feedback along the way. And if you make it clear and structured, like reference what slide you're talking about, include the question, fully develop your response. This way, there's no questions. I understand what you've done in the project. So we're going to start with a game. Are you smarter than a fourth grader? So several years ago, the New York Times created this little interactive quiz where they had several writing samples. Some were AI generated and some were written by fourth graders to the questions. Okay. And they had people go through this quiz and try to decide, is it AI or is it a fourth grader? And you would be surprised at the results. Sounds easy, but I had a hard time with it. Okay. So keep in mind that an AI might sound human, especially in writing, but that doesn't mean it understands what you're talking about. So what you're going to do is take the quiz, reflect on your results, and discuss this in Discord this week. There's a link here, here's a link, and it's a Google form I created because the actual real thing is behind a paywall, and I don't want you to pay for stuff. So I created it in a Google form. As you go through it, pay attention to the responses, like especially at the end, go back and look and see how you did for each section. So write down your responses. And then after each question, there'll be a little section that says, well, here's actually, which ones were real and which ones weren't. And just compare your notes. Write this up in your AI exploration log. But this is interesting because as you're reading through these, think about, if an AI can convincingly mimic human writing, then what does that mean for misinformation, plagiarism, or bias in the media? All right. So here's how this is just notes on how to do this. Play the game. There's a quick reaction post that you're going to put up. And then as a thread to that post, when you're all done and you've looked at the results, you're going to write a couple of paragraphs about how you did and what you thought about how you did. All right. That's just a warm up. Here comes the real deal. So on the next several slides, we're going to look about how to ask good questions, which is also known as prompt engineering. It's become like an actual whole science, okay? And so AI doesn't really think, it kind of predicts words based on its language model, based on the data set that it's working with. And so that means the way you ask a question might impact the quality of the response. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to experiment with AI by just asking different types of questions. See if you can goof it up, okay? Ask vague or misleading questions. How does it handle them? Test its ability to provide accurate and unbiased answers. Research prompt engineering, the skill of crafting effective AI prompts. And I'm giving you some resources for that. So let's look at a couple of those. So on this page, there's a couple of articles and videos that give you some really good tips on prompt engineering. There's that icon right there, right up in the upper left, right? So as you go through this, pay attention, take some notes of good tips, good tricks. This next slide is about an hour-long podcast with Kevin Roos, and he talks about, this is when Microsoft, it was in 2023, and they came out with kind of he found an interesting glitch in the chatbot that Microsoft had going. And so he talks about that and what that means. And what I'd like you to do after listening to that is to write down your 3 top takeaways. What does this have to do with ethics? What's interesting? Why did you pick them? Okay, so kind of load your buffer here with lots of information about how do you make a good prompt, because this will help you as we go down the line. So here's the steps. You test it. You're going to try to break it. See if you can break it. Ask it some weird stuff. Step 2, you're going to analyze and document the responses you get. And this would be a good place to take screenshots or to link to the chat, to your chat log. You can share your chat on most of them, ChatGPT for sure, and some of the other ones also. And then you're going to document your findings. Okay, like what prompts did you put in? What did you get? What did you expect? And reflect on that. The next section, now we're going to look at some AI tools. Okay, now, of course, for prompt engineering, you used one of the chatbots. But here you're going to get to explore a whole range of things. So here's the big picture. You're going to select 4 AI-powered applications to test. 2 are going to be from the provided category lists. We'll get there shortly. 1 is from the update the list section. It's something new that you find that isn't on one of the lists. And 1 that challenges you, gives you an opportunity to try something you might not normally try out. All right. So here, as you're going through all of these, for each of these 4 things, you're going to select them. So you're going to have to jump forward. We'll get there and pick your 4 things you want to try. As you go through these and play with them for a little while, take 30 minutes for each one. Read the documentation, see what it does, ask it questions, give it prompts, run it around a little bit. As you're doing that, these next 2 slides give you some things to think about and to document, actually. What does the tool do? How does it use AI? What kind of data does it collect? And what does it do with that data? Who benefits from this tool? Who might be excluded? Like who can't use it? Are there categories of people that might have a hard time using this? Your job is to evaluate these tools critically, not just whether they work, but what impact they might have. And so this slide's got evaluate and compare. Like here's some areas to look at for each of these tools. So select the 4 tools. One of those is going to end up being your product review. And that's what we're going to get to next. So once you've tested all those, you're going to choose one of those to review. Your job is to create a video, a podcast, a blog post, a short form TikTok review, something that shares what this product's all about. Okay, what it does well, where it struggles, why does this matter? So your review does need to include certain things. An introduction, like what does it do? Who is it for? The strengths and weaknesses. Is it effective? Are there any major issues? Ethical considerations. What's the privacy policy say about the stuff that you input into it? Do you notice any bias? How accurate is it? And the final verdict, would you recommend this tool? Why or why not? These are some questions that you can use you should use at least a couple of these in your review. What surprised you? You can go through all this. So this slide helps you understand, so what makes a great review? And here's a tip. Think about your audience. Like, who are you doing this review for? Is it for students? Is it for a business owner? Is it for content creators? Who's going to watch this review? Who's your audience? And then once you figure that out, here's some suggestions for how to make this a really good review. Finally, when you've got all that ready, and I would definitely write out notes, like write yourself out a script for what you want to say. When your review is ready, you're going to post it to the AI discussion channel on Discord and include a short summary. Don't just link drop. So you'll upload it to Google Drive or YouTube, or maybe it's already on a blog site, like wherever it lives. You can't just upload it directly to Discord. You have to upload it somewhere else and then link to it. But don't just link drop. Put in a paragraph or at least a couple of sentences, like what is this about? Why should we care? Maybe put in what was the most thought-provoking insight you gained from the project overall. So even though it's an individual project, your insights are going to help your classmates learn about different AI tools, because for sure, everybody will pick different things. This last section here just gives you a checklist, quick checklist. What are the deliverables for this project? The AI exploration log and the AI product review. Now let's get into the fun part of this. What resources and applications do we have? So here's how you select your tools. Before you start testing, you have to decide what to test, right? So this is going to guide you through that process. You're going to pick 2 tools from the category lists, 1 tool from the update list, or 1 tool you're going to find to add to the update list, and 1 tool that challenges your assumptions. Remember, we already talked about that. So there's a whole range of options here. And challenge yourself. Pick something way outside your comfort zone. And what you're going to do is you're going to go back to those questions that started on about slide 18 for evaluating. And for each one, like, what does it do? How does it use AI? What are the privacy settings or other settings you need to be aware of? Who might benefit from it? Like, just go through those questions, and for each of the 4 things, respond to those questions. Put it in a table if you want to. Whatever you do, make it clear and easy to follow. This is going to help you analyze how AI impacts different users and industries. Ethical considerations while you're testing, things like keep in mind are the ethical implications of the design and function. Again, bias, privacy, misinformation. How does it handle all those things? So I've got 5 categories. There's probably 1,000 categories, but I've got 5. And I asked ChatGPT to help me load each of those categories with 5 applications that you could explore. Almost all of the applications are free. We'll get to that in a second. So here's the 6 categories, or the 5 categories: natural language AI, creative AI, image generation AI, AI in society, and AI decision makers. So when you go through each page, kind of look through those. Remember, you have to pick something from 2 different categories, and you have to add one that's not on any of the lists. And then you have to try one that you normally don't think you would use, but you're curious about it and want to give it a try. So I'm just going to kind of flip through these slides pretty quick. Basically, remember, you're not required to pay for any AI tool in this project. Most of them have a free version or a trial version that lets you explore their core features. If it requires payment, you can skip it or use one of the free alternatives. Some AI tools change over time, so if you find a broken link or an outdated app, let me know. Like, if it's listed as free but now it's paid, let me know and I'll update the icons. And at the bottom of each of these slides, there's a little legend that tells you, but I think it's pretty clear. Okay. So check out if the tool asks for personal data before signing up. You might want to be careful of your privacy settings. Anyhow, natural language processing. Here's some creative AI ones. Here's some image generation ones with an example of one that I've used. AI in society, AI decision makers. Like, these are all really interesting. And then there's the update the list section to give you some guidelines about how to submit that one in your AI exploration log. And we're going to look at this last one, Midjourney. I gave it its own category because Midjourney really took the world by storm. And a couple of years ago, there was a huge controversy, and I meant to grab the book, but I didn't grab the book. But the book's right here, so I will grab it. I happen to have the book right here. You see, it's called Alice and Sparkle. When this book came out, it raised a ruckus because it was written with ChatGPT using Midjourney to create the images. I have a whole unit just on this book, so maybe we'll get to that next week. Anyhow, Midjourney is a really interesting thing because it generates the images in Discord. And but it's not free anymore. So I used to have students just try it out, but it's not free. You have to have a subscription. They had so many people. So this little video, it's like 5 minutes. This video will show you, and you might open it up in full screen or go to YouTube directly. It'll show you the generation process in Discord. It's really interesting because you put in some prompts, it gives you some images. You can, manipulate those a little bit. But as you're looking through this next section, because I'm going to show you some of the images that were generated in the video that's right here, think about who gets represented. Are AI generated faces biased towards certain races or genders or ages? Is AI art real art? Like, if AI is trained on other artists' work, is it creating or is it stealing? Like, there's some big questions here. So as you're looking at these images on the next several slides, there's 3 sets of 2 slides. So there's 3 sets of images, 3 sets of prompts, but there's 2 slides for each one. Analyze these images and look at them in reference to those questions, like who's represented and who's not, who's not, and what does this mean? Is this actually art? So I'm just going to fly through these quick, but you'll see there's a prompt and then a close-up of the images of these 3 different ones. I think you'll find them interesting. So let's wrap this up. Here's the big picture. AI is changing the world, no doubt about that. It's shaping the ways we create, communicate, and make decisions. But who controls it? and who benefits and who gets left behind? These are the ethical issues to consider. We've seen AI write and generate images. It can make predictions and automate tasks, but what's the cost? Three things. AI is not neutral. Okay, it reflects the data it was trained on. So what does that mean? AI is powerful. It can increase efficiency, it can unlock creativity, it can improve lives, but it can also take jobs and invade privacy and spread false information. So what does that mean? And AI is here to stay. That means we need critical thinkers like you to ask the right questions. So here's my final challenge to you. Imagine it's 10 years in the future. AI is deeply integrated into education, healthcare, hiring, law enforcement, and even politics. Who holds the AI accountable? If AI rejects your job application, can you appeal? If AI creates art, who owns it? If AI decides who gets a loan, who gets parole, or who gets medical treatment, should we trust it? These aren't futuristic hypotheticals. These are all actually happening right now. So, as we continue integrating AI into society, what role should humans play in ensuring that AI is ethical, fair, and responsible? That's the real challenge, not just using AI, but shaping its future. I can't wait to see what you uncover as we go through this project and as I look at your product reviews. Let's see if we can build a future where we control the AI, not the other way around.